Bienvenido, bienvenido, and Joaquin. I hope each and every one of you feels welcome. It's Destiny back in the house. Hey, listen, let's hop into a quick Mental Health Monday check in. This Mental Health Monday topic is about chemical imbalances. You know, I stayed away from this particular one. One, I tend to forget that it does fall under the category in the mental health categories of disorders, and it's one that's not commonly talked about. Probably we talk about bipolar, we talk about depression, we talk about PTSD and things, just common everyday. Chemical imbalance, I think, is one that gets a little skipped over. Because it's such a broad topic that many don't discuss on a daily basis, I'm not going to do a lot of talking on it. I'm going to do a little bit of talking and way more inserts on this particular one. But I want to start off by saying what I do know about it. Chemical imbalances deal with neurotransmitters. You guys always hear me talk about how my brain is wired. It's not just a coined statement from me that I just made up as some phrase to use on content or whatever. It's a real thing. We are wired a certain way. Probably any and everything made, created in this world has components and mechanisms and things that are put together to make it operate. They were created to navigate a certain way. We are like prime examples of that. How we are wired is how we think, how we navigate emotions and feelings and thoughts, and how we express ourselves. So, what I do know about chemical imbalance is that those neurotransmitters that operate in our brain that helps us navigate what I just described, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, those things can be like frayed and just like all out of whack, not coming together the way they're normally supposed to. So some component, some mechanism, something has happened to where your, if you deal with it, somebody's, whomever deal with it, neurotransmitters aren't just operating properly. And it's like any other type of like machinery, if you will, right? If something breaks, if there's a loose bolt or a bolt falls apart, screw, a bracket, something falls apart that's supposed to be a component to make this thing operate a certain way. The machinery goes haywire. It just goes bonkers. It's not running the way it's supposed to. The machinery runs smooth like this. We just have this imaginary piece of machinery. If a bolt or nut or a bracket or something gets loose or fall off, then the machine's like this. Our brains are like that, y'all. Chemical imbalances are like that. Those neurotransmitters makes us think and navigate life, and we're intact with our emotions and our feelings and our thoughts. We can express ourselves. For those of us who have chemical imbalances, whatever mechanisms in those neurotransmitters that gets a little off and out of whack, um, make those particular people that deal with chemical imbalances not be able to really navigate emotions and thoughts and feelings well. Like, I feel like I'm usually a person that can navigate a conversation well. I can express my thoughts and feelings. I don't care what subject, what topic you put on the table. Destiny's going to be able to, like, go. Let's talk about it. What problem solve? People who have chemical imbalances, some days they may be able to do that. And not even thoroughly. They just may be, like, shocked. It may surprise you that they can compose a sentence or a thought or feeling. You're like, okay, check you Yeah, expressing yourself with a little bit of humor, with a little bit of personality. And then that chemical imbalance where it gets off whack some days. You ask them maybe the same subject or topic or conversation, and it's like, eh. It's like they're frozen. It's like they're trying to talk and they're not making sense. And you're like, what? But you just realize they don't make sense what you just said, and you're trying those transmitters where that machine was running smooth, and then those transmitters don't do what they're supposed to do, and it's just, and that's how sometimes communication is for people, where they're trying to express their feelings, and you're like, I'm trying to understand, so if I owe you an apology, I can give you an apology. I'm trying to understand, and they just can't, they can't communicate it. Where other days they may be able to. Um, that's just the best way I can describe chemical imbalance from what I understand and know about it. There's medications for it. I never talk about medications on this channel. I'm not a doctor. I don't advise that type of stuff, but there's ways to treat it, ways to deal with it, or try to balance it out. It's one of those things where if you know someone that have that chemical imbalance, where they just can't navigate, you, like everything with a mental health disorder, you kind of have to figure out how to kind of mellow it out, figure it out, navigate that person and their moods and conversations and things. I'm gonna drop a different topic real quick on this because it resonates with something personal for me and probably many other people. But it didn't make sense when I found out what it was, but then when it made sense, I'm like, okay, there's just certain things in life that is like normal. Like that's why you have people who have no disabilities, and then you have a person with a disability or a deformity or something of that nature. Like, okay, we're all supposed to be upright, our legs and arms are supposed to work a certain way, but when you have a person that's disabled and they may have one leg or something shorter, like some function didn't work out in the normal manner, and I'm saying normal meaning normally how we're supposed to be conceived and created. And so they become disabled with a disability because they have some type of birth defect. So sometimes things just don't work the way they were designed to work. So what I learned that I had something for a long time, I used to struggle with swallowing and all this mucus and couldn't figure out what it was, didn't know what it was. I just thought I just got sinus problems. I called them my sinus issues. Well, then come to find, I don't know, having a conversation one day and I stumbled upon something called post nasal drip. It was kind of the first time that it made sense to me where things that normally are supposed to happen with our bodies don't happen, and then you have this diagnosis, you have this reason, you have this thing as to why it's that way. And when it's that way, meaning different, it's like, okay, I get it. So I always have mucus build up, always having to clear my throat a bunch, and when I do, just a clump of cold comes up. It may sound disgusting, but I'm going somewhere with this, guys, and you know I'm never really too weird and gross on my channel, but it makes sense. And so I dealt with it all my life. I always had sinus issues. My sinuses is draining. It's just what I always called it. But to learn it actually has a name and it's a meaning as to why that happens. Normally, without us even knowing or thinking about it, because a lot of things we do with our bodies, we do it intentionally. I'm moving my hands. I'm doing it intentionally. We walk intentional. We scratch intentional. We go and urinate. Everything is pretty much intentional. So this was weird to me that normally, without me having any control over it, there's something called post nasal drip. What? And so naturally, without us doing anything, our stuff back there, our mucus and I guess saliva and whatever else, it constantly drains without us trying to do it. That's why, to me, that's what makes it weird. Like Post-nasal drip, I struggle with mine, so I'm always, clearing and snorkeling and doing all that to clear it out. Everybody else that don't do that, there's this thing where constantly it drains. We don't do anything about it. It's natural, so we don't rethink about it. Post nasal drip is where you have a problem with that. Yours don't drain, so we're the people that's always making the pig, snorkeling, hog sounds because we're always trying to clear it and clear it and clear it. And so that's what I learned I have. So to have post nasal drip where my stuff don't drain, I'm always doing something to make it happen. So naturally, mucus and saliva and whatever drainage goes on the back of our throats, it's natural. We don't even work to do it. It just happens. Mine doesn't work like it's supposed to, so I'm constantly, I'm doing all that. So I say it reminds me when I learned, oh, there's a term to this, post nasal drip. It means something that I go through this. But it reminded me, or it made me think about that post nasal drip when describing this because, again, naturally, we should all have this thing, this function, and our neurotransmitters should allow us to be able to communicate and talk and think and express ourselves. And some people don't have that. Their balance is off. It's just off. So the normal communication that you could have with a lot of people that can communicate like you and communicate well and think and express themselves. You meet a person that can't, and it's like a struggle. You get frustrated, like, what's wrong with you? Why you say what you mean? Spit it out. And so it's a mental health disorder, and it's one of those things that I say, I'm gonna be honest. I do so many mental health topics, y'all, and I do read up on them. I don't just throw stuff on the screen. I read up on them, and what's interesting about them is there are so many things, of course, like anything medical, with have the same symptoms, and you can read a description about bipolar disorder, personality disorder, all these things, and there are a lot of similar symptoms, right? What's interesting is I'm not a doctor, so I never try to diagnose people, but I really believe that most people in the world are attached to some mental disorder in some way, even if it's just one little simple thing. Because every time I read, when I'm doing my research and stuff, like I can actually call a name to almost every description. May not be the same person. I'm like, oh my gosh, Lisa acts like that. John acts like that. Mary used to do that all the time. Oh my gosh. So it's literally, I'm thinking, do we all have some form of a mental disability, even in the slightest? I keep thinking I see a bug flying around. Maybe it's just me tripping. But even in the slightest, it's weird. I mean, I'm not trying to say everybody in the world have something, but it just seems like there's just a slight something that we all may have that links to some type of mental disorder. I know that sounds kind of weird, like, Destiny, why would you be in your channel saying everybody in the world got a mental disorder? And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, with all the descriptions I've read, if you were to read them, you would probably say and do the same thing. Think to yourself, oh my gosh, I do that one thing out of 10. Or I know 5 or 6 people to do some of these things. It's just weird. But it is what it is. It's life. We are who we are. We're all mapped up how we mapped up, made up how we made up, wired how we're wired. I think, again, chemical imbalance. I don't hear a lot of people talk about it. It's always bipolar and anxiety and all these other mood swings and different things. But I think that's another important one because that's deep. You're talking about the neurotransmitters in our brain that causes us to do everything just about. And when they're out of sync and out of whack and all over the place, that's a chemical imbalance. And if you're not balanced in the brain, that's deep. That's deep. I'm going to try to make a connection. I'm going to take a pause in this video real quick and I'm going to try to make a different connection about that. And it's just really a thought and an opinion about chemical imbalances. And if you're not together where you can navigate better when it comes to communication and thoughts and feelings, I'm ready to go somewhere with this. Give me a quick sec. The place I want to go with this is, it is just a wild, wide statement that's really going to mean nothing to nobody because it's just not life. I wish we as people in this world were so aware of things to where we could always be in alignment to figuring something out. Like I'm a problem solver in my head. So if I were aware that I had a chemical imbalance, I would absolutely immediately be a person and want to go to a neurosurgeon and let's do some testing and some studies and possibly medications without all these crazy side effects about my issue. So where I said I'm gonna take a pause because I know it can kind of be a weird thought. I wish it was almost law. That's why it's weird. I wish it was law, like mandated. If you have something going on, it should be law. Like they make you put on a seatbelt. Well, I don't always want to wear my seatbelt. Leave me alone. If I want to flip out the car, flip out the car. Not yours. You know, different people that still smoke cigarettes, they can die of cancer. You can't make them stop. Seatbelt law's always been weird. We'll talk about that on another day. But anywho, I wish there was something that could make you, like you can make me wear a seatbelt, right? Realize that there's an issue, and with that issue, you should be told to go somewhere and get that worked on, fixed, tweaked, corrected. We shouldn't walk around here with so many disorders and disabilities, and you just got to navigate life around other people who are trying to figure it out. And why aren't you more quote unquote normal or more regular, or why do you communicate in such a difficult status when I'm easy to get along with and I'm easy to communicate? Why are you making this communication? Probably because they can't. So that's a weird thought, I know, but I really wish it was something where we could all get worked on with our problems. And I say that it's such a bigger scope outside of mental health because what do I think? If that could happen, I think we live in such, not a such, but a much better place. I think we'd be in a much better world if people would fix a lot of things that are out of whack and out of sync and are disorders to where, you know, it's more stabilized and we can communicate rationally and not erratic and impulsive and all over the place and mean and nasty and cruel and diabolical and all these things. Like, just keep us right here. Everybody's tuned up in a line. How you have certain states you got to go get your car tuned up. We've been tuned up. We realized we had personality disorders. We got tweaked. We good. And we were controlling all of these disorders to where we can communicate and navigate life together as a whole, as people. And I just think it'll be a much better place. Y'all know I'm always going somewhere deep. I can very seldom talk about something and not go somewhere way beyond the topic because I always got to get down in that tree trunk. I told you, I like to get under the ground down there in the roots where the tree is grounded and growing. I like to just go there on stuff. My brain goes above and beyond a simple topic. Yeah, that's where I am on neurotransmitters working or not in our brains to create chemical imbalances. And I think that's where you just have difficulties, navigating with certain people that struggle with that. I have a lot of inserts. I said I wasn't going to do a lot of talking on this topic. I told a fib, not intentional. But things pop in my brain as I sit here, so I give examples and I go here and I go there and I go all over the place because y'all know I have a busy brain. I think I have adult ADHD. Did a video on it. Want to check it out? So that's that on that though. I can't say if you think you know anyone with a chemical imbalance, let's talk about it because, again, so many, I'm going to do a lot of inserts, and if you take the time to read any of them, all of them, you'll see that it relates to so many other disorders. So you're probably like, well, I don't know if somebody got a chemical imbalance or not, but they probably bipolar, or they probably got, personality disorders or something. So I would just have to lump them all together, any type of mental health disorder, because the descriptions of chemical imbalances relates to so many other things, so you really wouldn't know. You're not a doctor like me. You can't diagnose somebody, figure it out. But I just always like to say as a takeaway, we can be mean and cruel to people with these problems, and then we can be mindful and try to figure them out and be helpful. Try to kind of figure out how to navigate them, work with them. Sometimes We get caught up in our own world and we like things done our way. Sometimes when you're dealing with people with disorders, you might have to do things their way because you don't bring on extra anxiety. A lot of people with disorders, you know, for their mental and their anxiety, they need things done a certain way. It's like dealing with an autistic child or adult. They have so many things that stimulate them or overstimulate them that trigger them. And a regular person that doesn't have, and I'm saying regular, forgive me, person that doesn't have a disorder, you say, oh, you're just a control freak, you like things done your way. That's the case for some people, but some people that don't appear to have a disorder need things done a certain way just for their comfort. I'm one of those people. I've been told so many times I like everything done my way, I'm a control freak. The more I've grown and realized how many mental health disorders I probably have, I'm like, baby, I am never trying to control anybody. I want you to have a mind of your own. I can't stand to see an adult who can't think for themselves. So I am far from a control freak. I don't want anybody. Don't copycat everything I do. Don't act like you can't make a decision on your own. So it's so funny. I'm far from that, but that's what people see when I need certain things a certain way. It's for my anxiety comfort zone, comfort level. That's all it is. So sometimes we have to come off of our high horse of, well, you ain't gonna tell me what to do, and I'm not gonna change this or do this for you because of this. Sometimes it's just to accommodate somebody else. Goes back to that be kind, be friendly, because you never know if somebody's on edge. Maybe not suicide edge, but just having a bad day, and their neurotransmitters are already driving them bonkers for today. And here you come with your stuff. Sometimes it's like somebody needs something differently done on the job, and you like don't understand why. May not be a time to have to understand why. Just maybe do it to accommodate. So yeah, do you think you know anybody who might have a chemical imbalance? If you watch some of the inserts I put in here and you kind of a name popped up, do you think you know anybody who have it? Do you think you, with any of the disorders I talk about on the channel, do you think you're that person and know how to just navigate and be kind and understanding to a person that battles with disorders, as opposed to you don't get it, they're getting on your nerves, you don't understand why they can't figure nothing out and why they can't talk and why they can't communicate, you ain't got time for it. That being dismissive, I mean, everybody have a different temperament. That could be who you are. My takeaway is if you know anybody with any type of disorder, and let's just take disorder off the table, a person that just acts differently than you, I would say be kind, be mindful, give them grace, and just try to work with them because you don't know. You're not a doctor. You can't walk around work, school, your neighborhood diagnosing people. And I sometimes just look at people because I'm such an energy reader and I can tell something ain't right. And I just kind of, you know, fall back, don't do too much. But if I can be helpful and kind, I do that. But I don't do too much anything else because I don't know what that person got going on. And I don't need to know. I just know stay in my safe place and don't trigger them. Yeah, I'm gonna hop off this topic. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Keep watching. I'm gonna see you all.